So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring on a guy who's one of the elite NBA reporters on the planet.
The best in the world!
Sam Amick! Hi, Sam.
What's up, guys? Congratulations. What an honor to be on here with you. I'm going to try to meet your energy, but I do not think I can do it.
I get it. You get to a certain age, it's hard to kind of get.
Wow.
You cannot do that to Sam.
We
freaking
made up. We
Amick.
just made up. We made up after all these years.
That
You
wasn't-
going to talk dad bods again?
No, I wasn't going to go there. I was just saying, I mean, not all of us can be like LeBron dropping 46. Like, I mean, you just
Fair.
reach a certain
Yeah,
point, the
no doubt.
energy's not there. Sam, the news yesterday, Monty McNair, you reported it's a 3-year extension with the Sacramento Kings. I think there are so many people wondering, like, hey, when is this going to happen? Why didn't they do it earlier? Were you surprised at the timing of Monty McNair's extension?
Yeah, admittedly a little bit. I had a stretch earlier in the season when I was checking on it pretty routinely. And to be honest, I thought they would get something done a little closer to the All-Star weekend, All-Star break, and had kind of unofficially in my head kind of decided that's when they would do it. I still thought, for sure they would do it. But honestly, the longer it went without a deal getting done, we've seen stranger things in this league and certainly with this organization. I wondered where it might go, because the more the Kings won, the more in terms of the executive market, NBA wide, if you're somebody like Monty, with success comes other opportunities. So I did kind of wonder if, maybe it would go sideways, but obviously that wasn't the case. And then they got this thing done.
I was joking that when Woj put out the report, he had this picture of Monty McNair where Monty didn't look like happy at all. And it said breaking news. For a split second, I did think, oh, maybe it didn't get worked out. That could be bad, but it did not. It ended up getting worked out. So that was a good thing. I'm curious, why do you think it took this long to get a deal done with Monty McNair in his front office?
My best attempt at reading the room would be that, for one, I had heard, earlier in the season that as far as Vivek's mentality and his perspective here, that if you go back to the Vlade Divac experience, and I believe the 2019 off season, like the day after the 2018-19 season, they win 39 games. They reward Vlade with a 4-year extension. And it's, Vivek's way of stabilizing what appeared to be a group that was on the come up. Fast forward, I think 16 months, something like that. And Vlade's resigning. You have chaos again. Joe Dumars is in the mix. Who's going to run the team? They won just 31 games that year, went backwards. And so what you had heard is that Vivek might have had a little bit of PTSD, if you will, as far as, extending, thinking that was going to lead to more momentum and progress, and having that not be the case. So I think maybe that played a part in the delay, because one thing I was told consistently that there were these rumblings that, Monty, maybe he's looking for a different challenge, and maybe it's him kind of dragging his feet. And on his side, they were really quick to correct that narrative all the way through. That no, he wants to be here. Don't get it twisted. He would like to get a deal done. And again, that's what happened.
Monty was on with the morning show, and he talked about how it's not about making everyone happy in the headlines, right? It's really about getting the job done. What do you think that shift is about? Is it just Vivek trusting him more, trusting Wes more? Like, what is it that has really been shifted with this organization?
I think, Morgan, there's a lot of nuance to it, and I think Monty would be the first one, again, given their success right now, to probably hand some flowers out to other people, right? Like Wes Wilcox has done a nice job, as kind of a partner with Monty in the front office. Alvin Gentry now is a trusted voice as part of that group. And I think with Vivek, you've got this body of work as an owner where at some point you got to look in the mirror and realize, like, it's been a long, tough stretch. And every single time you make change, then, the focus and the spotlight and the headlines are going to be about you. And so I think, to Vivek's credit, he, my feeling, my sense is that he mostly has let these guys do what they wanted to do with the roster. And I don't mind admitting, if you go back to last season, they do the trade with Indiana. I mean, I was 100% in the camp, wrong on both sides of it, to be honest with you. I didn't think Halliburton would become the player that he has in Indiana. And I thought that Sabonis is a very nice player. but I did not see him doing this kind of stuff. And that's one of those trades that can make or break a career. If you look at, this is not trying to disparage anybody, very widely respected, but out in Minnesota, Tim Conley's put together a really good career. He's running the Timberwolves, but this Rudy Gobert trade of the past summer is the type of thing that will forever be part of his legacy. And for now, it looks like not for the better. If you're Monty in this Kings front office, right now that Pacers Kings thing was kind of a landmark moment that is working out really well for them.
When you look at where this Kings team is at right now, currently at the number 3 spot, we know the gap between 3 and 10 is pretty slim, right? So it's going to go back and forth. We got a long way to go. Where do you have the Kings at in your mind? Like, do you think they have a shot to be a top 6 team based on what you have seen over halfway through the season?
I mean, they do. And it's funny, guys, we've talked about this courtside because I was in Deuece with you guys before games. And I feel like, for a lot of this season, because I've lived here so long and seen it all like you guys have, like, I feel like the Debbie Downer guy where I'm just like, hey, congrats to Monty. Deserve the extension. But my God, if they take the foot off the pedal, there still exists a possibility that this thing could go in the wrong direction. And knock on wood, go ahead and all Kings fans, find some wood around you. But they've been really healthy. You know what I mean? Sabonis has played through the thumb injury. And so this is a tough league. I actually saw, it's funny, a video earlier today on Sirius XM with Eddie Johnson. I don't know if you guys saw this, breaking down the Kings road trip to come. And I thought he really put it well, where he basically highlighted the fact that this, is it 7-game road trip is massive, because every game on the trip is either winnable or you really should be winning the game. And I know it's a long road trip and the road is tough, but there's actually some decent rest time in between. And it's like, if you want to take away for the Kings some of the anxiety as far as like the disaster scenario of falling out of the playoffs, then go dominate on this road trip, and you're probably going to be feeling it a whole lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. This road trip being a huge deal. And you talk about keeping that foot on the gas pedal. Does any of that have to do with making any moves at the trade deadline if you're Monty McNair, and making any tweaks? Or are you thinking like stepping the gas on, or keep on putting the pedal to the metal, is really just keeping this team together and continuing to grow with this?
I mean, I think the latter would be the first thing is in the locker room, and Mike Brown's done a really good job of keeping his guys focused. Shoot, if I was Mike, I'd be showing my players that Eddie Johnson video just as an outside voice reminder. He's done a good job of that. So I think just this group, not, letting go of the rope like coaches like to say. But then, trade-wise, no question, there's going to be noise about what the Kings are doing. I don't have clarity on, targets for them and guys that might really move the needle. I saw some of your guys' commentary yesterday on the Richaun Holmes stuff. I agree with you that Richaun is a pretty tough guy to move, even though he's had some good games. But his contract is a lot of money for a guy that is going to play that kind of a role. So, the front office will be active. And Deuce, I didn't really even answer your other question. Like, this is a good team. Like, they're a playoff team, fully healthy. Are they better than New Orleans? No, I don't think so. Are they better than the Clippers? I don't think so. Are they there with Dallas? Yeah, that's fine. Like, Dallas has a lot of holes. You know what I mean? So to me, that's where they are. And to their credit, they've also shown this ability to win close games and to be in the trenches in those kind of games that you got to win if you want to be in the playoffs. So, we'll see if they can keep it going.
We were just talking about the trade deadline, and I'm curious from a league-wide perspective, how active do you think it's going to be? Because it just seems like you have so many teams in the West in the mix. It just seems like there's more buyers than sellers at this point.
I agree. It's starting to feel, though. I think we'll have plenty to talk about. I think that, the Rui Hachimura trade didn't necessarily break the dam, like some people were wondering, with the Wizards and Lakers doing that deal. But if you go down the list, and I just pulled up an actual list to kind of help guide my thoughts here on that topic, Deuce, like, there's a lot of teams that should be sellers, and I think probably will be. But it's going to be late. Like, I had an executive say to me the other day that he thinks there might not be, and this is granted before the Hachimura trade. He's like, I don't know if we're going to have a trade before February 5th, because all these teams are just going to wait, and figure out if they want to hit the escape hatch on the season and give up basically, and then become sellers. But there are a lot of teams that you can make really strong arguments that really need to be sellers. And then if they're not, they're going to slow down whatever their rebuild looks like. So I think we'll have fireworks. I think it's just all going to come in the last couple of days.
I like that.
Don't excite us, Sam. We love hearing this about the trade deadline. But I think my only fear about this, you guys, would be, I kept saying this in the beginning of the season. I was like, hey, I think the Kings could be a play-in team. I just don't know about the Western Conference. All right, now you're seeing where they stand in the Western Conference. But then I kept going, okay, what if there's going to be other moves that are made in the Western Conference at trade deadline? Talked to some people in Vegas when we were there for the G League showcase, and they were acting like there might not be a lot of movement. Again, that was a whole month and a half ago. So now we're hearing that there could be some fireworks. Do you think that's going to be in that Western Conference to help some of those other teams elevate and even be better than the Sacramento Kings as we move forward?
Yeah, it could. I mean, honestly, I like the Hachimura trade for the Lakers. I think when Davis comes back, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And I'm only talking about in the context of battling for playoff position. They certainly didn't make themselves title contenders again, but they were playing really well before AD got hurt. So the Lakers, even just with Hachimura would concern me if I was a Kings fan. The Blazers, I don't know what they'll be able to pull off, but they have very strongly signaled that, with all things being about Damian Lillard, that they need to win, they need to get better, and they are trying. They're, certainly not tanking, and they're going to try to buy and be better. The Thunder continue to play well and are obviously not tanking for Wembanyama. Beyond that, it's like you can say goodbye to the Spurs and the Rockets. Those three teams I mentioned are the ones that would worry me. But even up the food chain, if you will, from there, it's like, the Warriors, they're going to find their stride here at some point. Minnesota has been so inconsistent, but there's talent there. There's a lot of teams that are going to keep fighting, keep pushing. And it goes back to that's why the Kings have to keep doing the same.
And you just mentioned the Warriors. You and Slater teamed up on a piece today about Bob Myers and his future. He's in the final year of his deal with the Golden State Warriors. Everyone's talking about Monte McNair in Sacramento, but Bob friggin' Myers, who's won championships, does not have a deal for next year. I guess my question is, do you anticipate the Warriors making kind of a splash move? Because, I think Steph and that group, they want to win another championship, and I think they see the flaws in this team.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It's so wild to me that you hear about, James Wiseman being available, things like that. Like someone, and I keep going back to this Rui trade, but like Rui was a pretty high draft pick, and somebody was highlighting how it was a bad look for the Wizards, to lose him for a couple of second round picks. And you're sitting here thinking to yourself, like, James Wiseman was a number 2. You know what I mean? Like the idea that the Warriors are going to maybe get off of a number 2 pick this quickly shows the desperation, Deuce, that you're talking about, because it is a title or bust season for the Warriors. I don't mind admitting, like, I love as a writer, I love it when you have situations like this that are really compelling, and they kind of, a story like this Bob Myers one sets the stage for, like, what is it, January? So 6 months from now, we're going to know how the Warriors season ended, maybe 4 or 5 months from now. But the ripple effect from there is going to be massive because, it's going to lead to Bob's future and Clay's future and Draymond's future. And within all that, at the trade deadline is, without question, is Bob trying to find, some way to do right by Steph Curry, do right by even Andre Iguodala. That whole crew wants to get a 5th chip. And Bob certainly wants the same thing. So we'll see what he does.
That's what I was curious about, because obviously, not only is it known that Bob Myers has the relationships that he does with a lot of these guys, but you guys mentioned it in that piece today as well on The Athletic. And I tell me if I'm wrong, if Bob Myers is gone, is that the start of the fall of the Warriors?
Well, that's going to happen when the Kings eliminate him.
Oh,
but
got it.
And then the
Okay.
Bob Myers component. Yeah, for sure.
It's funny, as a quick aside, I'll kind of blend it with the Kings discussion. I'll be honest, the longer that Monty didn't have a deal, and I was told I was barking up the wrong tree, but there was a time when I didn't know if maybe Vivek was dragging his feet because he loves the Warriors and he thought Bob might be available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, to be clear, was told that was not the case. But that is what Bob's reputation and his accomplishment breeds is kind of this idea that no GM is safe if Bob Myers is on the market. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality of who he is. And so, yes, Morgan, I think it could be the beginning of the end. I mean, we hit on it in the story, and make sure I give credit to my other guy, Marcus Thompson, as well. You know, the three of us did the piece together. But, you know, Steph Curry, it was written in no uncertain terms that it would be unsettling for him if Bob was out. And that word was chosen very carefully. And so I think we all know, like, the Warriors culture and their ecosystem. Like, if Steph ain't happy, nobody's going to be happy. And don't think that just because he's the guy, you know, who is Mr. Nice Guy all the time, that he's above talking to Joe and saying, I really need this guy to be here.
Damn, that's crazy. That's going to be a crazy thing to follow. Sam, I know you as a media member, you get a vote for all-star starters, right? Like the fans get 50%, 25% current players, and 25% media. Is that correct?
Correct. You got it.
Okay, so Bill Simmons, Zach Lowe, even JJ Redick, who was really critical of the Sabonis-Halliburton trade, said, I'm going to vote Sabonis as a starter. Did Sam Amick vote Domantas Sabonis as a starter in the Western Conference?
Man, Deuce, I'm forgetting here. Are you putting me on the spot, or did I already tell you offline?
You did not tell me. You did not tell me.
I didn't tell you. Now, I'm so happy that I did vote Sabonis, because that would have been such,
you did?
What a move that would have been if I didn't. You just would have shamed me on the King station.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
it would have been a major Sam Amick heel turn.
I know you're not watching us right now, but let me just tell you, I was on top of the studio table about to come through that camera. Okay, so you did vote for Sabonis. So what?
I did, yeah.
Why did you feel like he deserved to be a starter?
It came down to a couple of things. For one, I've always been really big on availability. And so whether it's the awards, like all the way up to MVP or All-Star, I just really think availability matters. So he's played the vast majority of the season. Also, again, kudos for playing through injury. He's really shown a gutsy side that I think deserves recognition as part of the calculus as well, because he is leading this team. Then when you compare him to essentially Larry Markkinen and Zion Williamson, both those guys have missed time. And then Larry's game, he's been great. You know, certainly not a playmaker, scoring the heck out of the ball, shooting the heck out of the ball, hitting the glass. But, you know, the Jazz team success-wise are not on par with the King. And so it became like one spot between the three of those guys. And I went with Sabonis. And I love his game. I mean, their defensive issues remain, the entire Kings team, obviously.
Yes.
And certainly he's part of that. But, you know, you talk to people around the league, and it's a heck of a compliment. It's like this Jokic-light reputation that Sabonis has right now it's a really impactful style of basketball. The way that he is the fulcrum offensively, his passing ability, his scoring ability, the triple-doubles. And, again, even the leadership stuff. Just setting the tone by playing through the injury. And I love he and De'Aaron, they're dynamic. And I think De'Aaron, to be honest, I don't think he'll end up making the team, but I give him a ton of credit because he seems really selfless to me this year when he talks about Sabonis, seems to have absolutely zero problem with the idea that he's sharing the spotlight in a major way right now. And so, I think he for sure should be on the team, and I've got him as a starter.
I love it. Well, Sam, we appreciate you joining us
You're
on the
the
show.
best.
Seriously, you are the best. I'm bummed that you're not in Sacramento tonight. You're going to be checking out rivalry week in the NBA, Grizzlies Warriors, right? Is that correct?
That is correct. I kind of love it. It's one of those old school sports writing days where if you write a story like we did about Bob Myers, I should probably get in the car and go down to the game and actually attend the Warriors game. So we'll see how the evening goes.
Actually, good for you. Yeah, that would be a coward's move. You write this article and then you're in like Sacramento. And everyone's like, where's Sam tonight? Not showing his face.
Well, I know you guys know Anthony Slater really well. Oh, I'm getting a commercial here.
Oh, you're
you guys
getting
still got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hold on, Sam.
It was Chris. Go proceed if you're good.
No worries. I was going to say, I know you guys know Anthony Slater well, and I did joke with him earlier today as we were talking on the phone. I was like, all right, buddy, I'm really starting to feel like this Kings-Raptors game is the way to go. You have fun down at the Warriors game.
Yes!
No, I'll be down there. Although I actually heard I don't think Bob's going to be at the game. So, what do you know?
Bob's dodging you. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I see how it is.
Well, Sam, seriously, keep up the great work, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Congrats again.
Sam.
Thank you so much. That's a one and only Sam Amick from The Athletic. Yeah, I hung up on us. Get out of here.
Get out of here, Sam.
We're done with you now. No, how about that? So he voted Sabonis as an all-star starter. Did that surprise? I was a little surprised.
I love that. We talk to him all the time on the baseline before games, and it's like we hadn't talked about that.
Yeah.
Really cool to see. I'm not super surprised. I think it's deserved, right? We already knew that.
But as a starter, do you think, I wonder if he has a shot as a starter? Of course, the fan voting came out and he was in the top 10 the last time I saw with fan voting.
Yeah.
But it's a combination 50% fans, 25% media, and 25% current players. So he'd probably need a ton of media to vote for him. And then a ton of players. I don't know. Maybe he's got a shot.
Yeah.
That would be pretty wild.
No, I think he has a serious shot. And I say that, Deuce, because you and I were talking about it the other day. And we were saying how, wow, Sabonis, I mean, he could be in that top 5 MVP conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like with everything he's doing for a team. So why wouldn't he be in that conversation as an all-star starter in serious talks?
Man, shout out to everyone joining us live today. We got people on YouTube hanging out with us the whole show. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. We want to talk to you on the phones too. Hit us up at 1-800-920-1140. Kings and Raptors tonight. We'll preview that game as we get you closer to Kings basketball tonight. It's Deuece and Mo on Sactown Sports.